Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's study of Philippians. Our focus is Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 13. I chose this passage because it speaks directly to what it means to live as a community centered in Christ. Here, Paul calls believers to unity, humility, and mutual care. He invites the church to imitate Christ's humility, letting that shape how we live with one another. And today, you might hear some background sounds today, but life happens even while we study Philippians. So, today we'll explore 3 key ideas: what it means to be unified in Christ, what it means to imitate Christ's humility, and how these teachings can shape our lives today. My hope is that as we study together, you'll reflect on your own journey of faith, and I hope we'll challenge ourselves to practice humility in tangible ways. Life can be exhausting. Whether you're retired, involved in social justice, parenting, or just trying to manage daily responsibilities, it's easy to feel weak, tired, or spiritually worn down. This study is meant to be a place of renewal. It's a reminder that even ordinary work can reflect Christ when shaped by humility and love. While we are not in the same world Paul wrote to, some challenges are familiar. In the Greco-Roman world, society was shaped by status, honor, and hierarchy. People were pressured to gain recognition and power. Humility was rarely valued. And in many ways, our world today has similar pressures. We're told that success means moving ahead without looking back, that once we've made it, we don't need to care about the struggles of others. And the constant cycle of news and crisis can leave us overwhelmed. Repeated tragedies can lead to apathy, a sense that the world's problems are too big to face. Another challenge is individualism. We are encouraged to protect our energy, to focus on self-care. And while self-care is important, it can sometimes make community secondary. We lose the resilience that comes from walking through struggles together. Within the church, this shows up in subtle ways. Conflicts go unspoken, frustrations remain hidden, tensions settle quietly into whispers or gossip, and trust can fracture. Generational divides make it even harder. Older and younger members may think we have completely different goals, when in reality they often share the same hopes but approach them differently. Pride and poor communication make it difficult to admit mistakes or speak honestly about needs. All of this raises important ethical questions, also present in this passage. How do we prioritize the well-being of the community over personal ambition? How do we resist systems that elevate status over service? How do we build ministries that focus not just on numbers, but on the faithfulness and health of the community? These are the questions Paul addresses as he calls the Philippian church to unity and humility. Paul calls the community to a shared life defined by unity, humility, and mutual care, as evident in Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. He urges believers to be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. As Linda Belville notes, Paul's exhortation focuses on cultivating a mindset reflecting the communal life of those united in Christ. He grounds this appeal in relational realities already present in the community: encouragement, love, participation in the Spirit, affection, and compassion. And these shared experiences form the foundation for Paul's ethical instruction. Believers are called to embody them in relationships with one another. Paul's instruction is both positive and corrective. Believers are called to unity and shared purpose, but not to act from selfish ambition or conceit. Instead, they are to look to the interests of others. This contrasted sharply with Roman culture, where status and honor defined personal identity. But we must remind ourselves, humility is not weakness. It's reordering of values toward mutual care and devotion to the gospel. Schellenberg's concept of abject joy helps us understand the emotional and relational dynamics here. Humility becomes a paradoxical joy that emerges when we relinquish status and embrace solidarity with others. A blissful self-mortification that reorients identity within the community. Next, we encourage what scholars call the Christ hymn, Philippians chapter 2, verses 5 through 11, a poetic or liturgical passage. It addresses Christology, who Christ is, and kenosis, Christ's self-emptying. Paul calls believers to adopt the same mindset as Christ, grounding humility and unity in his example. In verses 6 to 8, Christ's self-emptying is expressed in the Greek phrase ekonosin hoten. While often translated emptied himself, some scholars say it can also mean Christ poured himself out, showing divine love given for others. These verses also helped shape early church debates about Christ's divinity and humanity, particularly against Docetism, which claimed Christ only appeared human. Here, Paul shows Christ relinquishing divine privilege, embracing servanthood, and dying on the cross. The lesson is clear. Humility is central even in the face of societal pressure or status. Christ models a way of living contrary to both ancient and modern pursuits of power. Next, Philippians chapter 2, verses 12 through 13, living out humility and obedience. Paul turns to practical application. He tells the Philippians to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. At first, this might sound like earning salvation, but Paul is not teaching works righteousness. He's asking the community to live out the salvation God has already given, empowered by God's work within them. Notice the plural language here. This is a call to whole community, not just individuals. Faithfulness is a collective endeavor requiring humility, obedience, and mutual care. Verse 13 reminds us, "For it is God who works in you, both to will and to act according to his good purpose." Our ability to live faithfully doesn't come from human strength alone. God enables and sustains us, working through the church to accomplish what we cannot do alone. Our conclusion for today. Philippians chapter 2, verses 1 through 13 presents a vision of Christian community grounded in humility, unity, and faithful obedience. Paul calls believers to cultivate mutual care, following the example of Christ, who humbled himself even to death on the cross. This passage also calls us to faithfully steward the gifts God has given and the relationships within our community. By caring for one another, believers participate in the life of Christ. Even in exhaustion or discouragement, God continues to work through the body of believers, strengthening and sustaining the church through shared faith, encouragement, and love. Thank you for joining today's study. Take a moment this week to reflect. How can you practice humility and unity in your own life and community?